Okay, I might be entirely wrong on this, but from the looks of it, from what I've seen, it doesn't seem like that many people are as amped for a new Nintendo console as they usually are. And it makes a lot of sense, right? Technology today just isn't very exciting anymore, if we're being honest. Back in the day, you know, with all the other consoles, especially Nintendo, you could see an insane amount of innovation, of personality, of just difference with it, right? Nowadays, I'm sort of realizing that anytime people showcase innovation, it's bloody AI, guys. That's really half of these tech companies. All they do is love showing AI and more reasons for us all to get mad at each other. That's really all we get nowadays. And so I think a lot of people getting upset, or not even upset, but a lot of people getting a little bit harumphed. Let's say harumphed. Does anyone know what that word means? My music teacher in middle school used to say harumph whenever he was upset. So we're just using that. Disappointed, miffed, whatever you want to say. I'm going to say harumphed. People are getting a little bit harumphed that the Switch 2 is just a simple upgrade. It's the Switch 2. At least on the surface, right? It seems at surface level that this is very much so the same direction as all tech is going. And at first you think, oh, well, you know, that along with the leaks and sort of having an idea of like it being very predictable just makes it so that the Switch 2, when it was revealed, and even a couple weeks now after the reveal, it just doesn't feel that special, you know? And it's a little bit upsetting. It's a little bit like, oh, especially when you have these trends like, I'm not going to say that word, guys. I'm not going to say Fruitiger era. Oh, fuck, I said it. You see trends like that, and it's like, it fills you with so much joy and nostalgia. I mean, it could just be nostalgia, but it's also like that was a period where you were very excited for new technology, like, oh, this is improving my life, oh, this is like so fun, and it's all futuristic, oh, bubbles and grass, you know. It's just like, it seemed like it amplified our human connection and amplified humanity into almost a utopian sort of, you know, a utopian reality or whatever. And now it feels like everything to do with technology is very dystopian, and we have that sort of ideology attached to it, right? Everyone thinks of technology quite negatively nowadays, right? Again, AI is a great example. No one's really excited for AI. It's sort of like, whoa, this is insane. This is kind of scary a little bit. You cannot deny that there's a negative connotation when it comes to technology nowadays. That and also like social media. No one thinks that social media is all excited and hunky-dory and stuff. And it doesn't help that that's sort of more so the software side of things, right? And it doesn't help that the tech side of things is just very stale, where everyone wants to look like an Apple product, and Apple isn't really innovating. It's just doing the same shit over and over again. And it's like, you know, it's a little bit dodge. It's a little bit sad. And when you see a company that is so integrated with the idea of doing something wacky, being weird, doing something that is rather contemporary and just expected and predictable, it's like, wait, that's interesting. Again, at least at surface level, because I think personally that is just the overall vibe, right? I think with the Switch 2, a lot of people are coming to that conclusion of like, oh, this is Nintendo maybe following a trend or playing a game of being safe more than they're usually doing, which is going crazy and weird. Especially with like Iwata, I feel like he was super crazy with just wanting to do all these fun ideas. And you know, you could say like, oh, it's a mix of leadership change, it's a mix of this, it's a mix of that, making this company feel a little bit more corporate than they ever have before. But at the same time, I think that is a overestimate, because at the same time, this is the correct move, right? The Switch 2 just makes the most sense. If anyone just did a weird thing like the Nintendo Gulch, and it was just it had like sniffing capabilities, whatever people were memeing, like, no, don't do that, Nintendo. Like, it makes a lot more sense to play it safe. And a lot of people are like, oh, play it safe, play it safe, play it safe. And it's like Xbox and PlayStation did it across all of that period, and they didn't get in trouble, right? So it's like a big end to it, I guess. And even still, in the way that they're being contemporary, it's still very, very innovative in a lot of ways, as so far what we've seen. Like the magnet technology seems really cool. That sort of like ideas, or like you could see like the iconography of magnets being like very, very significant throughout its UI and its presentation and everything to do with it. The mouse feature is super cool. Like, it seems like they're still innovating and being creative, and you can still see that little spark in there. But I think it's the combination of just the way tech is going, where everything is being homogenized into one, and people sort of like not liking that, and the fact that Nintendo has always shown innovation across the board with previous technology, including the Switch. Like, look how many little gaming tablets we have now. We have so many. But it's just like all of that going overall, and again, everyone feeling sort of nostalgic for when technology was exciting and was silly and was goofy. And it's just got a lot of people feeling, I don't know, schlumped a little bit about this. And again, can't say enough that everyone sort of knowing or being able to predict about it definitely makes it less exciting. And also, it's not about the console at the end of the day, it's about the games on it. Like, that's a really exciting part. And also, like, the UI, like, we don't know what the personality of the Switch console itself looks like on the interior, so that's always exciting on the software front. But yeah, I don't know. And I think it's one of those things as well, as you look back at previous years, and it's like, even if tech has sort of felt boring or, again, dystopian for the last 10 years or so, you always had Nintendo being bloody goofy with like the 3DS, right? 3DS was super weird, super fun, super goofy, and it just, I guess it alienated people. Maybe it's just this new homogenized tech. A lot of people might not feel the same way I do. Maybe you think I'm completely goofy in this regard, and you're like, oh, it's just a console. Why is Madz getting all angry about it? What is that tweet again? Great day for annoying people, or bad day for annoying? Yeah, I guess I'm one of the annoying people, guys. Sorry. I like the sort of creative art side of technology, and I think tech can be very cool and exciting, especially when you look at, again, as a kid, like, you think of like, whoa, hoverboard. I don't know, but you see like, oh, big utopian, big flower garden, eco-friendly stuff. It's like that stuff is still happening as well. I feel like we're still getting a lot of innovations. Like, what, there was an inflatable farm which could be used in deserts for planting plants and growing crops. There's for 3D printing houses. Like, there's a lot of cool tech going on in the world, but I think it's just overcrowded by this sort of BS of just, late stage consumerism and AI crap. And it's like, come on, guys, there's so much more fun stuff to talk about. Sure, this part is very scary, and I guess it's like what everyone's hooked onto, and everyone, fear sells, or negativity sells more than anything. So maybe it's also just a case of we're shrouded by like what everyone's talking about as well. I don't know. It's just like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's definitely a contrast where you can go from things are very exciting, things are very cool, to things are kind of scary, things are kind of scary. You get what I mean? And you know what? Even with people sort of being straightforward, or companies, and especially in the gaming market being straightforward, look at the PS5, right? The PlayStation 5 is very, very basic in regards of upgrading from the PlayStation 4. Like, there's almost very little, I guess there's less loading times is basically it. Like, that's what they're able to do. It's like SSD or whatever. But I remember seeing the PS5 and thinking, oh, that's kind of boring, I guess. But even still, you look at its identity, you look at the way the console looks, that looks bloody weird. It looks bloody zany. That's cool. Some people will be like, oh, this is gonna look so gross in my living room. But no, most people have a PS5. I don't have a PS5, but it looks cool. It looks goofy. And like, I guess that's one side to it, right? It might be a basic upgrade, but it's still exciting in its like visual way. And I think like, even if companies want as like a hack or like a cheat code to making tech look exciting, just make it look weird and zany and goofy and futuristic. I think a lot of people are hungry for that as well. A lot of people are sort of bored with iPhones looking the exact same for the last 10 years. It's like, we're technically, quote unquote, in the future, right? And it doesn't feel like it. It just feels like 2015. It feels the same. It feels like since 2015, everything's been the bloody same. And I think a lot of people, especially like, I guess, Gen Z sort of generation. Why do I say Gen Z generation? The generation of the Z, which apparently isn't even real, guys. Apparently, we're still millennials. Apparently, Generation Z isn't like a proper term by the guys who like created the term millennial and Gen X and all this stuff. Gen Alpha and Gen Z are still millennials, apparently, which I was shocked to find out. But yeah, apparently, that's true, apparently. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's not true and I'm making a fib, but I'm pretty sure that's true. But yeah, if you want to hack to making have serotonin in our minds, just make everything look goofy and futuristic again. And I'm sure the Switch 2 will still have that, but it's just, it's that feeling of like, oh, things are getting sort of normal, and like, I guess Nintendo's becoming an Apple of the gaming sphere, and Apple used to be known as like a company that used to innovate a lot, and now they're sort of just doing the bloody same thing every year, and no one really likes Apple anymore. We keep people buy their products, but I would say more people have a negative view of Apple than like or a neutral view, at least. Everyone's got a bloody iPhone, I guess, and every other phone is trying to look like a bloody iPhone. Might make something a little goofy and interesting, or at least, here's the thing. I think there's companies which are going goofy and making fun stuff, both in like gaming and tech and everything, but they're just, again, overcrowded or like shadowed by these big gargantuan bloody lame ideas like fucking GetMadz. Who gives a shit about GetMadz, you bloody, come on. It's so sad. It's not that, I mean, I guess it's just annoying. It's sad, so that's the wrong word to use. But those are my thoughts about the state of tech. I think Nintendo is still in a good spot. I think they're making the right moves. And I think, again, it's too early to really say if this is just a contemporary, you know, they're going standard or whatever. It makes sense for them to do a Switch 2. Like, that is, without a doubt, the smartest thing they could do right now. I just want things to be a little bit silly, but I'm still thinking there's a lot of things which are really silly about this. Like the mouse feature, the magnets, like there's a lot of personality already, which you see in this. And especially, like, looking at the Switch tablet itself, just a little bit of accent of color. You might think, like, oh, like, that's so, like, still not very exciting or whatever, but it's like, look at that compared to the Switch 1 tablet. The Switch 1 tablet doesn't have very much personality at all. All it has is a bloody logo on the back. This tablet, at least, has more personality. So you think, like, for 1 second, like, this is sort of like a sort of a lame upgrade or whatever. Like, oh, why don't they do something wacky and innovative? It's like, this already has more personality than the Switch 1, in my opinion, at least. I think the accents of the color and the way, I'm just so excited to see what the UI looks like. I think they're going to really do something crazy and fun with the UI. And also, I think there's going to be, like, a community aspect to it, similar to, like, Miiverse. That's for another video. I've yapped enough. Let me know what your thoughts are.
Peace.